What is your best joke? I bought shoes from a drug dealer. I don't know what he laced them with, but I've been tripping all day. I took the shell off my racing snail to make it go faster. If anything, it just made it more sluggish. Someone found a hole in the nudist colony fence. Police are looking into it. Guy trying to get hired at a farm, and the farmer says, "Have you ever shoot a horse?" The guy says, "No, but once I told a donkey to fuck off." A man goes into the doctor and says, "I think I have hearing problems." Doctor, can you describe the symptoms? Man, sure. Homer's fat and Marge has blue hair. Two fish in a tank. One turns to the other and says, "Do you know how to drive this thing?" Three construction workers have lunch together on top of a tall building. The first one opens his lunch box and goes, "Another tuna sandwich? I eat tuna sandwich every day. If I have to eat another tuna sandwich, I'm going to jump." The second one opens his lunch box and also goes, "Man, another turkey club sandwich. I can't stand it anymore. If it's the same tomorrow, I'll jump." The third worker opens his lunch box, sees a meatball sandwich, and like the others he says he'll jump if he has to eat another meatball sandwich. The next day the three men open their lunch boxes. The first one got a tuna sandwich. He writes a goodbye note and jumps. The second got a turkey club and does the same. The third sees he has a meatball sandwich and follows them. At the funeral the wives of the three men meet. The first one weeps and says, "If only I had known. I would have made him something else." The second wife is angry and goes, "He never told me he wanted something else. If he had just talked to me." They notice that the third wife just looks sort of confused, so they ask her what's wrong. She replies, "I just don't get it. He always made his own lunch. My grandfather has the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the zoo. Yesterday I couldn't figure out whether someone was waving at me or the person behind me." In other news, I lost my lifeguard job. Not my original joke. 3 Mathematicians walk into a bar. The barman says, "Do you all want a beer?" First one says, "I don't know." Second one says, "I don't know." Third one says, "Yes." Man goes into a butcher's. Asks, "What happened to your assistant?" Butcher replies, "Fired him." Man asks, "Why is that?" Butcher replies, "Because he was putting his dick in the bacon slicer." Man asks, "What did you do with the bacon slicer?" Butcher replies, "Fired her as well." What's the difference between an owl, a piano, and a fish? You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. What's a foot long and slippery? A slipper. Bear walks into a bar and says, "Can I have a Coke?" Bartender says, "What's with the big paws?" Bear says, "I don't know, I was born with them." Why do Norwegian warships have a barcode on the side of them? So that they can Scandinavian. People who wake up at 5 a.m. daily, why? By 6:30 a.m. there is already gridlock on the way to work. I go in early and get off early, beating the rush hour traffic both ways. My cat politely lays on my neck until I wake up. My job is an hour away and I still need about an hour to cry in the shower. Do you think I'm doing this on purpose? Work. Age. As a teenager I could sleep all weekend. From about 30 I never needed an alarm clock as I would always wake up before I needed to. At around 40 I started waking up around 0630 and it gets earlier every year. I'm now almost 60 and am generally awake around 0430 and up and running by 0500 regardless of how late I go to bed. If this trend continues I will be getting up before I've gone to bed. There are times like weekends when I wish I could sleep in, but overall I enjoy being up early. Sunrise, coffee, and peace are nice. I'm a light sleeper and naturally wake up from light. Also once I'm awake it's very difficult for me to fall back to sleep. My gluttonous fucking cat. Can't help it. I naturally wake up around then. I like it tbh, everyone else is mostly asleep too, so it's a peaceful way to enjoy a coffee and wake up at your pace. Work out before work. Dog can't seem to understand we sleep in on the weekends. I have more time to fuck around. Kids. There's a small human that pokes me in the eye and says mommy up until I get up and make her toast. Shit needs doing. What are the cons of not having kids? Deleted. Cannot form military alliances. People assume you don't like kids. I love kids and am honorary cool aunt to several. Things just didn't work out for me to have my own, didn't meet spouse till older, went through traumatic life events during post-marriage childbearing years, etc. You aren't constantly distracted so the existential dread creeps in lol. You don't have the same perception of time. When I run into a friend and his kids have aged 10 years you realize how old you are. In my experience, it's lonely. A lot of people assume if you don't have kids, you don't like them, don't want anything to do with them, and know nothing about them. I was the oldest of many kids and helped raise them. I understand what kids are like. I can entertain them and like to play games with them. I can feed and change babies. I can rock them to sleep. I understand they're likely to destroy things and make messes, whether intentionally or not. I have a box of toys and bubbles at my house in case of small visitors. I get that I will never understand what it's like to have a child, but I like to think I'm pretty accommodating. And yet many friends distance themselves because they don't want to bring their children to my house in fear of them wrecking it. Note, I'm not a fancy person and don't care anyway, and don't want me to see theirs because it's wrecked. They don't want to go out because it will be too stressful. When we finally do get together, I listen to their stories, but rarely get asked about my life because they're so consumed with parenting that's all they can focus on. It's hard to watch those friendships slip away, despite my best efforts. Edit, thanks for all the comments. Yes, I have friends without children as well, it's just difficult once you get to a certain age as you're the minority. I wasn't criticizing my friends, as I understand the focus shifts. I was just sharing my reality. When you're someone who doesn't have kids because of infertility and health reasons, people feel like they can interview you about your private medical information. Edited to add, I literally wrote this and went to bed. Thank you, everybody, for engaging in so much conversation. You can lose friends. As you get older your friends who aren't child-free will start getting married and having kids. They'll still love you, they'll still like you, they'll still try to keep in touch. But their life will be very different from yours. Their priorities will change and you will inevitably be bumped down the list. You could start resenting them for not being present for you like they used to be. They could start drifting from you because they feel you don't understand their life and struggles anymore. Now I'm not saying a friendship can't survive a difference that big, but a lot of them don't. And to be clear, you shouldn't have kids just to keep friends. It's possible to make new friends. It's also possible to renew old friendships once the kids get older and your friends are more willing to be away from them. It's just hard those first few years when their life has changed so much and yours has not. Some of my best memories are sitting with my mom and grandmother and sisters around a table, just talking and working crossword puzzles together. There's a closeness there that can't really be replicated, even with your best friends, a lifetime of memories. I'll never have that with my adult children, because I don't have any. I don't regret not having kids, but those times around the table are gone forever now. I am an only child. There will come a day when my whole family is dead. Mother, father, aunts, uncles, all of them. And the only family I have left, will be those I married or made. I will spend years, possibly decades, without a single family member alive. I will be forced in those last years to draw up a will, deciding who gets my meager belongings when I die. I will leave no legacy, no furthering of my line, no solace that in death, my home/family/stuff will continue in any way, or even be remembered. Many people are afraid of being forgotten after they die. My destiny is to be forgotten long before I pass. Edit, since many seem to be misinterpreting that last line, I'll clarify. It means I'm afraid of being stuck in a nursing home for decades, and becoming one of the people forgotten about while they are still alive. The absolute best feeling in my life as a mom is when my 19-year-old son, who had moved out, comes home with half a dozen of his friends and they raid my kitchen and pull out Monopoly or Risk and just relax like teenagers, taking a break from adulthood for a minute. I will cook a big meal and they'll stay for hours. It's pure bliss. I couldn't imagine life without moments like that. As an older parent, I think my brain had become less malleable. Kids have been good for me because I've had to relearn how to be patient and break some of my bad habits. Edit, spelling. Thanks. The family you grew up with only diminishes in size, even so far as dying out completely. If you are an introvert, you can make new lasting friends from parent groups because you have a lot of child play date activities. It's not something that should be looked down on because even quiet autistic fathers get to socialize with the pretext of attending children's events along with their wife. Nobody will ever be as impressed with you as your own 4-year-old. I made rolls that didn't rise once and she ate 3. I am a biology major and I can tell her very basic things about sharks or birds and blow her mind. I taught her how to play Mario Kart and she congratulates me on doing well every time we play, even if I did an objectively poor job. She tells me good job for going to the bathroom. I'll never have this kind of support again in my life.